and I put my bot in there
on Discord.
Yeah, no security because I hadn't built sandboxing in yet. I just prompted it to like only listen to me. And then some people came and tried to hack it, and I just watched, and I just kept working in the open. I used my agent to build my agent harness and to test like various stuff. And that's very quickly when you click for people. So it's almost like it needs to be experienced. And from that time on, that was January the 1st, I got my first real influencer being a fan. He did videos, the kids. Thank you. And from there on, I saw it gaining up speed. And at the same time, my sleep cycle went shorter and shorter because I felt the storm coming, and I just worked my ass off to get it into a state where it's kind of good.
There's a few components, and we'll talk about how it all works, but basically you're able to talk to it using WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord. So that's a component that you have to get right.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out the agentic loop. You have the gateway, you have the harness, you have all those components that make it all just work nicely.
Yeah. It felt like Factorio times infinite.
Right.
I feel like I built my little playground. Like I never had so much fun than building this project. Like you have like, oh, I go like level 1 agentic loop. What can I do there? How can I be smart at queuing messages? How can I make it more human-like? Oh, then I had this idea of, because the agent always replies something, but you don't always want an agent to reply something in a group chat. So I gave him this no reply token. So I gave him an option to shut up. So it feels more natural.
That's level 2.
Yeah. On the agentic loop, and then I go to memory, right?
Yeah.
You want them to like remember stuff. So maybe the ultimate boss is continuous reinforcement learning, but I feel like I'm level 2 or 3 with markdown files and a vector database. And then you can go to level community management. You can go to level website and marketing. There's just so many hats that you have to have on. Not even talking about native apps. That's just like infinite different levels and infinite level ups you can do.
So the whole time you're having fun. We should say that for the most part, through this whole process, you're a one-man team. There's people helping, but you're doing so much of the key core development.
Yeah.
And having fun. You did in January 6,600 commits, probably more.
I sometimes posted the meme, I'm limited by the technology of my time. I could do more if agents would be faster.
But we should say you're running multiple agents at the same time.
Yeah. Depending on how much I slept and how difficult of the tasks I work on, between 4 and 10.
4 and 10 agents. There's so many possible directions, speaking of Factorio, that we can go here. But one big picture one is, why do you think your work, OpenClaw, won in this world? If you look at 2025, so many startups, so many companies are doing kind of agentic type stuff or claiming to. And here OpenClaw comes in and destroys everybody. Like, why did you win?
Because they all take themselves too serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to compete against someone who's just there to have fun.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be weird. And if you see like all the lobster stuff online, I think I managed weird. For the longest time, the only way to install it was git clone, pnpm build, pnpm gateway. Like, you clone it, you build it, you run it. And then the agent, I made the agent very aware. Like, it knows that it is what its source code is. It understands how it sits and runs in its own harness. It knows where the documentation is. It knows which model it runs. It knows if you turn on verbose or reasoning mode. Like, I wanted it to be more human-like, so it understands its own system. That made it very easy for an agent to, oh, you don't like anything, you just prompt it into existence. and then the agent would just modify its own software. We have people talk about self-modifying software. I just built it. I didn't even plan it so much. It just happened.